us before the match, we understand this is going to be a tough assignment size-wise, but she truly believes that her team has the talent and the ability to battle and compete and hang with the Noles here this afternoon.
And they've practiced all those shots against a big block, which is going to be important.
Attack error there gives the Fighting Irish their first point of the match. So a couple of attacking errors, one for either side. The first one by Schrader, the second by Audrey Rothman, the Florida State sophomore at the pin. And speaking of pin hitters, Sydney Palazzolo, the transfer from High Point, goes back to serve. The all-around leading point scorer in the ACC, serving it in for the Fighting Irish. More on her as we carry on throughout this match. In the meantime, back set goes to Sydney Conley, and Notre Dame tried to pass that ball up. Nobody was ready for it. It's a kill for Conley.
And, you know, you get a dig, and you want it to go a little bit toward the middle of the court. Got him out of system and didn't have anybody there to set the ball.
So Sydney Conley pushes Florida State ahead 2-1. Maddie Snyder, her freshman counterpart, in the opposite spot, rotates onto the floor with Conley making her way out. Charity McDowell, a player who's been an everyday starter for the last couple of seasons for Salima Rockwell and Notre Dame, records the quick side-out kill, and she rotates off the floor tied 2 apiece.
And a big swing hit directly at the setter, who wasn't quite ready for it.
And that sends the libero for the Fighting Irish, Hattie Monson, who lays out for a one-handed dig, back to serve. Noles are out of system, and it doesn't matter. Maddie Snyder rockets one right through the block.
She's a 6'4" lefty, so she's got a little bit of an advantage up there at the net. And left-handed is always just a little bit tougher to block, so it's just a great swing right off those blockers' arms.
3-2 Noles as Florida State sends Audrey Rothman back to serve. And there's a freshman who has made a tremendous impact in year 1 for the Fighting Irish, number 22 in white, Ava Lang.
And she had that sharp, sharp cross-court shot, a lot like Audrey Koning likes to hit for Florida State.
Nearly 2.5 kills per set on the season for Lang, who came to South Bend, Indiana as a 4-star recruit out of California.
We know Notre Dame's going to serve tough. They're going to really be aggressive as much as they can to try and get Florida State out of their offense.
Kylene Filamawa set to serve it in. And a free ball opportunity coming for the Noles. Out of system set, Snyder is rejected. Droskovic takes it on first contact. Now there's Audrey Koenig.
Big, strong swing by Audrey Koenig, 6'3" junior. Really scores well out of that left side. You can see this tough swing right between the block.
Big, strong swing from Audrey Koenig. We've said that a time or two, and we've said ace serve for Kylene Filamawa a time or two this season. The freshman from Bothell, Washington, the reigning Washington State Player of the Year in high school, has done a tremendous job, particularly as a server for the Noles.
She's got this nice low flat floater that you've just got to watch it, track it all the way in.
Tight pass to the net. Notre Dame goes off speed. And there you go. Lucy Trump, the sophomore, tips down that ball that was passed over the net.
They're talking about whether that ball had crossed over the net or not. It could have been totally on Florida State's side. And Notre Dame reached over and tapped it down. Salima Rockwell doesn't look like she's going to challenge that, so we'll go on.
Yeah, that is something that I believe is not challengeable. Rockwell was not pleased with the call, and if you're not pleased with the call and wearing blue and gold, you got the point right back. Speaking of Salima Rockwell, year 2 at Notre Dame for Rockwell, who spent 9 years coaching at Penn State under Russ Rose, also had a stint at Texas, a combined 3 national championships for Rockwell as an assistant, who's one of the best setters to also come through the Penn State program.
Just a phenomenal record as a player and in her experience in coaching, so it was a thrill to see her come into Notre Dame as the head coach.
It's been a thrill also to watch Kiari Roby come into this Florida State program. That was her, number 25 in Garnet, putting that ball down in a hurry out of the middle like the Noles like to do. Back set Trump, Notre Dame got the touch call.
Nice swing. She did a good job of getting that in front of her right shoulder. Really important on the right side to get that your feet in the right position.
Lucy Trump, a player who last year against Florida State in South Bend had a double-double, 17 kills to go along with 15 digs. That's number 7 in white. Conley, cross court, 2 kills for Conley, her first 2 rotations across the front row.
And both of these teams, I think we're going to see them spread their offense out and around, some from the middle, right, left side. We've seen back row attacks, so got to be ready for everything on this court today.
5 kills on 10 swings with 1 attack error for Florida State. They're hitting .400 early on. McDowell out of the middle. Roby off speed will do the same. Out of system ball to Trump down the line.
You know, you take away her cross court and she is able to just pin that down the line. Really an effective shot. Nobody's playing defense down the line for Florida State.
And I mentioned how well she played against Florida State last year in South Bend. The sophomore from Florence, Kentucky, was actually the kill leader for Notre Dame last year as a freshman. And speaking of players who can record kills in bunches, Audrey Rothman certainly fits that billing for the Noles.
And she has really come around. Had a great freshman year, but as a sophomore, doing just as well. But 6'4", and she can place the ball where she wants to.
2.3 kills per set this season for Audrey Rothman. Back set, here's Schrader. And the Florida State block was up and ready. One of the things they did especially well against the Tar Heels, even in those later sets, more so than the earlier ones, was block the ball. 19 team blocks against the Tar Heels in the comeback reverse sweep win for the Noles.
Well, that block consisted of somebody 6'4" and 6'3", so you've got to have a shot to get around them.
And you might as well pour it on if you're Florida State. A fortuitous kiss off the tape falls for an ace serve for Kiari Roby. And with the Noles on a 3-0 run, Salima Rockwell and Notre Dame call an early timeout. The Noles lead set 1, 12-6.
All right, it's game time.
We gotta watch the Bucks game too. Giannis already got 20 points in the first quarter.
League pass goes hard.
And check out the heat. Jimmy Buckets is on fire. The Lakers and the Nuggets are in OT. Oh, Luka just put a dude on a poster. Jalen Brunson out there snatching ankles. Ooh. Go back to Golden State. Home team view.
This is NBA basketball at its best, folks.
I'm never leaving.
I'm gonna want you to leave eventually. After basketball.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great.
5G boss mode activated. Smile, you're on Cricket.
That is definitely him.
Dude, that's Jessica taking a little break with a peppermint frosty.
I gotta ask him. Hello.
Hi.
Mind if I sit? Okay.
And now get 20% off in the Wendy's app when you include a frosty.
Desmond Howard, here to see my college football collection.
Impressive stuff, little man.
Geico makes it easy to insure. My car and RV, too.
Wow.
Gloves from your famous catch.
How'd you get those? Great smile. Is this from when the band ran on the field?
Yep, 1982.
What is this?
Oh, no, don't touch the,
Not so fast, my friends. Not so fast, my friends.
It'll turn off eventually.
For all your insurance needs from home to car to RV, it's easy to Geico.
Welcome back to Tallahassee, where Notre Dame just called a timeout as we take a look at where things stand for Florida State as of now. They're 22-8, 15-2 in the ACC, tied for first in the conference standings with Pittsburgh. Their RPI sits at 26. They're ranked 23rd in the ABCA poll. That's their highest ranking since the 2019 season. So hosting the NCAA tournament likely out of the question for the Noles, whose block was tooled for a Notre Dame kill. But certainly, without question, going to be in the tournament and going to be a team to watch in it.
And what they're playing for today is an automatic berth. So they could possibly win a conference championship. More importantly, if they win today, they get that automatic berth into the NCAA championship.
Quick set to the middle. Corey Lewis had it picked up. Lang, the freshman, that's a tight pass, and McDowell put it down, except Lewis was there ready for it to dig that ball up. This time, no digging it up. Notre Dame with a timely kill, trying to trim into a lead for Florida State that's grown to as many as 6. As we take a look at what's at stake for the Fighting Irish, should be their first win over an AVCA top 25 opponent since that weird COVID year where they played fall and spring. On April Fool's Day, they knocked off Georgia Tech in Atlanta. And for the Seminoles, yes, they would be the co-ACC champions, I should say, which they, again, would share with Pitt. And as you mentioned, Coach, because they've got the head-to-head win over Pittsburgh here in Tallahassee, they would be the recipient of the ACC's automatic bid.
And there's only 32 conferences that get those, so that's really important. And then also just to hang another banner in this gym. You know, a lot of ACC banners, and that's what they're playing for.
And so we took a look at where Florida State stands and how they got here. They call a timeout with Notre Dame on a 3-0 scoring run. We'll take a look at where Notre Dame has come and where they're going. They're 11-14 on the year, 5-12 in conference play. They opened the year, though, 8-2, which included a 6-game winning streak. Things were going well. Then things did not go so well. They've been 3-12 since, a 9-game losing streak that was actually snapped with the 5-set win over Wake Forest earlier here just about a week ago.
And I think I know Coach Rockwell loves this team, and she really appreciates how hard they fight. And sometimes you just drop a few matches. All of them have been close, just within a few points. And you've just got to figure out how to get over that hump and to pull those wins out.
She's been particularly complimentary of the quality of volleyball they've played. She said that they're playing some of their best volleyball here over this last stretch, even if the results haven't shown it.
And the work ethic, and I think she just appreciates them as people and as athletes on the court.
3-time All-American setter at Penn State, tremendous assistant coaching career, international volleyball as well, representing the United States. A home run hire for the Fighting Irish, figuring things out and building the program back up in year 2 of her tenure in South Bend. Her team has fought back against Florida State, a 3-0 run that they would like to continue. And their block causing all kinds of problems. It's not often that Corey Lewis is rejected, but she just was.
Oh, I mean, she came in there hot, and she was hitting, she was getting hot, and the Notre Dame block had their hands in the exact right spot at the exact right time.
4-0 run for the Fighting Irish. Great service rotation for Palazzolo. Phelan runs all the way across the court to set that ball. Lang, the freshman, played up by Koenig. And out of the middle, there's Corey Lewis.
And she's not going to get blocked twice in a row. The timing between the setter and the hitter is so important. And you can see that Phelan just sets it up there exactly. Corey Lewis has got her arm up, her hand ready to snap it down.
Lewis, who continues to jump higher, go quicker for Florida State as she progresses through her career. Connects there, and then Jelly Draskovic just missing the sideline. That's a service error, point back to the Fighting Irish. 2-point first set as Hattie Monson goes back to serve. Rothman took it on serve receive, tried to transition out of it, but missed the end line. That's an attack error, the second one for Rothman in this match. And all of a sudden, it's a 1-point first set, the 4th attack error for the Noles. Off speed, Rothman, one hand, it's over, courtesy of Lauren Tarnoff. Schrader, cross court.
Just a great job of picking up Corey Lewis's hit again, and just a fast transition over here, getting it to the right side so the Florida State block cannot get up there.
Schrader, a player who has predominantly played as the opposite for the Fighting Irish this season, has set some here over the last couple of matches, and back to Florida State. There's Corey Lewis starting to heat up, and that's one of those things that if you're Notre Dame, you wish wouldn't happen.
Yeah, she's got some shots and she's got some swings, but she's a phenomenal hitter and just having an awesome year.
Leading the ACC in hitting percentage, number 4 in the country, hitting .445 on the year. Joust at the net, it goes to Florida State. Backhand shoved by Lewis, an opportunity now for the Fighting Irish. Another kill for Fiona Schrader.
But she's been able to score on this left side block here just a little bit. She slows it up, plays it in. good ball control.
And so now with Schrader moving to the back row, she will be the setter for the Fighting Irish. I think a lot of times folks think of a 6'2" as setter always in the back row, but she will then be the opposite for Drunick, their other setter, their primary setter. And there's Trump. My goodness, Lucy Trump's off to a good start. And Notre Dame, who's trailed by as many as 6, leads it 15-14.
And this was a great rotation for them last time. You know, Trump scored several times off of that left side block.
Snyder off the block. Lang had it blocked by Snyder and Lewis. It stays up with Trump. Gaona with the out-of-system set to Koenig. It's a tight pass. And point to Florida State.
Another call with that ball tight on the net. Just a little bit of a discussion whether it was on top of the net, and both teams had the right to play it.
And they're going to call, I believe, Fiona Schrader for being in the net. I saw the 19 signaled by our up referee, Rodolfo Marrero. There's a big stuff block for Maddie Snyder on the right pin. 15 big kills to spur Florida State in that reverse sweep again in Chapel Hill. And she's come away with a kill and a block here early.
And we'll see if Notre Dame can come back with a few more shots off that block.
And there's an ace serve. FSU doesn't sprinkle in a ton of aces this season, but they also don't usually commit a ton of service errors, and so the ratio's decent for the Noles, and they still tend to provide a lot of service pressure, even if it doesn't find the floor for an ace. That one, though, did.
And that was their third ace of the match, and what a fantastic dump and a second ball over.
Fiona Schrader, a player who will do anything Salima Rockwell needs, and who always wants to do something with a volleyball, taking it over.
And she's got to stay on the ground because she's in the back row and a little too tall. Has to contact that below the top of the net.
Service error by the Fighting Irish, and Florida State moves ahead by 2. Kenna Phelan, the freshman, was a 2-time state player of the year in Arkansas. Her mom, as we've mentioned on a few of our shows before, was Chris Poole's first All-American when he coached at Arkansas, and the younger Phelan drops in the ace serve.
Coach Poole was telling me that her father was a great tennis player, a great tennis coach, and her mom, his first All-American. So she has been in the gym in her whole life, and she just has an attitude like that. She's ready to win.
Could be another ace serve. It is Kenna Phelan. Timeout, Notre Dame.
And that's the 5th ace for Florida State, and that's just the fastest way to take control of this match is just aggressive serving in the seams, along the line, and Notre Dame's had trouble handling these past few.
Well, Florida State, like Notre Dame, employs a 6'2" with the graduate setter Jelly Droskovich, who won a conference championship when she was at UMBC before transferring to Florida State, and then the youngster Kenna Phelan, who Droskovich has taken under her wing. Comparable numbers across the board, and Phelan now dropping in a couple of aces to tack on to that total.
And it's really, if you're going to be a volleyball player, you've got to get in the gym and work on that serving, because you can just take control of a match. But both of these players have been phenomenal as setters for Florida State, and it's fun to see the senior and the freshman.
They've engineered one of the most elite offenses here in the country. You look across the NCAA stats, and Florida State, one of the best hitting teams, top 10 in the NCAA, second best hitting team in the conference. And that's courtesy to what the veteran and the youngster have been able to do.
Sure, exactly. You've got to have the passing, but then the setter has got to get it to the right people at the right time, and Florida State's setters have been able to do that this year. And they spread that offense around. Again, it's not just the middle, it's not just the outside, but everybody gets a chance to hit.
Here's some of the numbers for the Noles. In total kills, first. In terms of their kill percentage, also atop the conference. They also rank high in terms of assists. 4-point lead for Florida State. Feeling off two aces, serves it in once more. Better job passing that time by Notre Dame. They get the side out kill.
And Trump has really been impressive today as far as hitting down that line. I think if I'm playing against her, I've got somebody back on that line to dig the ball.
4th kill on 7 swings for Lucy Trump. Lauren Tarnoff back to serve. Conley with a couple of kills of her own goes off speed. Quality effort by the Fighting Irish just to get that across. Koenig, sharp angle. Trump once again, this time dug up by Filamawa. Koenig had it rejected by Charity McDowell.
Excellent job on blocking, and Trump keeping that ball in play. You can see that Notre Dame just gets a hand on it. Everybody gets a hand on it, just keeps the ball in play. Good ball control.
So Tarnoff is set to serve it in once more for the Fighting Irish. Looking to see if they can't string together another extended run. They trailed by as many as 6, then led at 15-14. And Selima Rockwell wants to have a word with our down official, Mark Edsel.
They're just trying to make sure the Notre Dame team is staying back behind that sideline.
Quick set to the middle, Kiari Roby.
Really an effective shot against just one blocker up there. Just got to hit right side or left side, and they are going back to that left back position.
2 kills for Lewis, 2 kills for Roby, the 2 tremendous middle blockers for Florida State. And Audrey Koenig caught the top of the tape. It popped up and hit the Terraflex on Florida State side. It's a service error.
And it's been pretty strong serving so far. Just two aces, 2 errors for Notre Dame and 2 for Florida State.
Trump, that's a strong serve. And a free ball to the Fighting Irish. McDowell on the slide, dug up by Phelan. Palazzolo missed the end line.
A nice off-speed roll shot. She really just tried to turn it over her shoulder and lay it in the corner and just barely missed that end line. Florida State was smart to let it go out.
1 kill, 1 error in the first set for Sydney Palazzolo, who's one of the kills per set leaders in the ACC. There's a huge stuff block. Audrey Rothman did it all herself, I think.
She had her hands right over the net just as we got ready to swing and was able to shut them down. You'll see her hands. She's just by herself. Lewis is just a little bit late.
Set to the middle, McDowell off speed. Dug up by Phelan, Rothman off the block. Palazzolo. Phelan over on 2, nice pickup by Monson. Lewis, high reach. And Schrader up in the front row, goes off speed. Florida State was there to pancake it. Nice rally here. One-handed dive, Phelan. We play on. Palazzolo cross court, count it.
Could you see any better defense going on in another match? I mean, they were all in position. If they weren't, they were diving for the ball, pancaking it up. I mean, everybody had some serious effort in that play.
Big kill for Palazzolo, who goes back to serve. Lewis out of the middle, dug up by Monson. Lang off the edge of the block. Rothman dug up once again by Monson. Palazzolo, back row, got it!
Big, big swing. A little bit of a surprise coming out of the back row, but she has the timing and the reach to just nail it to the back line.
Timeout, Florida State. So the lead is back down to 2, and that back row attack worth another look.
And against a 3-person block, you know, there's only 3 people back there left to cover it, but man, she hits it in that seam. And both teams are out of timeouts now.
Sydney Palazzolo comes into Notre Dame as a transfer from High Point University. She leads the ACC in points per set, second in kills per set, only to Miami's opposite, a freshman no less in Grace Lopez. She's also second in the ACC in aces. Last year, she led the Big South in total kills and was their player of the year. She was also their freshman of the year in 2021 and also on the way in 2022 to being the Big South player of the year, received an AVCA All-America honor as an honorable mention.
I mean, you can't get many better stats and honors than that, so I know that Notre Dame is excited to have her on the team.
Coach Rockwell said that she has been an extremely positive player that the team naturally respects for who she is and for how she plays.
And it's exciting to watch her on the court, contributing so much in so many different ways.
Palazzolo, a junior, still has another year left, and as we take a look at the roster breakdown for the Fighting Irish, they had 6 players come back that were returning starters, 2 transfers, including Palazzolo, and then 5 freshmen coming into the fray in South Bend, Indiana. The other transfer along with Palazzolo is Nicole Drunick, the primary setter for the Fighting Irish in their 6-2 system. Drunick tries to chase that ball down at point Florida State, and the Noles have set points here in the first set. These two teams met earlier this year in South Bend, Indiana. The Noles swept the Fighting Irish at the Joyce Center. FSU looking to claim set 1 here as well. Lewis off speed. Lang rejected, and that'll do it. A 5th block in the first set for the Florida State Seminoles, who win it 25-21.
And I think really an excellent start to what
the ACC Championship Saturday for the FSU program. We're back underway as Sydney Palazzolo serves it in for the Fighting Irish. Sydney Conley rejected, and here's more of that defense. Florida State covers and gets the free ball over. I think FSU was in the net.
I think Corey Lewis touched it as a block, then came down, and I believe he thought it was just if he called 2 hits or he thought she lifted the ball up just a little bit.
I think he said 2 hits. I saw that 2 go up. Initially, I saw the net vibrate and thought it was a net violation.
So he's deciding whether or not she touched it on the block and whether that was whether she touched it or it wasn't exactly a block. It touched and came down. And we've seen this call before, and it's really hard to decide whether it was a block and she was trying to hit it back over, or she touched it and it came down inside her. So I think that's why he's calling a double hit.
And that's not something that Chris Poole can challenge. And I'll add one more thing. Looking at that replay, Audrey Rothman's left shoulder was in the net. There is Rothman on serve receive. The free ball attempt out of play. Filamawa was trying to put something in there aggressively, Coach, and just missed the sideline.
Yeah, a lot of times you try and send a free ball to that right back position, and I think Notre Dame really knew where that sideline was and watched it go out.
Good start to set 2 for Sydney Palazzolo and the Fighting Irish. Sydney Conley lets it rip right down the line from the right pin, number 15. Lewis off speed. Schrader tried to track it down, and it ends up getting passed into the net. Point Florida State.
Again, such awesome defense from all of these teams. Really incredible. Hattie Monson is just flying around on the court, picking the ball up.
14 digs in this match already for Hattie Monson. And on the flip side for Florida State, you see number 4 in Garnet all the way there in the back row, Audrey Koenig. She is 13 herself. Lang off the block. Back row attack, Koenig hung on the net, McDowell digs it out. Back set Snyder down the line, picked up by guess who? Hattie Monson. Filamawa up ahead to Droskovic, who tips it over. And out of the middle, there's Lang.
The ball's not dead till it hits the floor, and nobody on any of these two teams stops until they get a hand under the ball. Just incredible play. I mean, you can see it on both sides of the net, just sticking a hand out and getting the ball up.
Addie Monson back to serve. Quick set to the middle. That is automatic offense for the Noles.
And that is how you draw it up, Sean, right there.
Quality pass and a quick set to a player who can punish you in a variety of ways, worth another look.
And once you get that established in the middle, then those outside hitters become much more available because you've got to try and stop Lewis in the middle.
Overpass. And Snyder is rejected. Lewis there to cover. Lewis now out of the middle, dug up by Monson. Joust at the net, it goes to Notre Dame. Laying off the block, Droskovic with the pancake. Lang through the block, will not get a touch call, and I think Notre Dame's lobbying for it. They're going to pull the challenge card.
And as they should, they get 2 challenges, so Coach Salima Rockwell believes there was a touch. Second referee, Mark Edsel, will look to see if he sees a touch. He'll go to the replay monitor here. We'll see what we can see here.
Might be the left hand of Maddie Snyder they'll be looking at here, I'm guessing. We'll take a look, though, at what the reviewable plays entail. One is whether or not a ball contacted a player. The next thing is whether a ball was in or out. There's no question that ball was out. The basis of this review is whether or not it was touched by, it would appear to be Maddie Snyder, maybe Corey Lewis. Then there's also net faults, illegal back row attacks, where they launch from what would essentially be the front row. And then, of course, service foot faults.
And we're seeing all kinds of good angles here from the camera work, and it has to be irrefutable evidence. It's not that you think there was a touch, you've got to actually see that touch. So Mark Edsel is looking at several different views.
As it stands, we're tied 3 apiece. If this call is overturned, it would be Notre Dame leading early on in the set 4-2. It would be a point taken away from the Noles and then also awarded to the Fighting Irish. Also something to keep in mind with the review system that's been in place now for the last couple of seasons. Notre Dame has 2, so too does Florida State. If you are correct, you continue to have 2. If they are incorrect and or there's just not an angle to confirm whatever it is that Notre Dame thinks, that being that Florida State touched it, then Notre Dame loses that challenge until the 5th set. I believe Mark Edsel was shaking his head no. And he just told us, you might have heard, can't tell, so it's going to remain point Florida State. And Notre Dame's going to be down to 1 challenge till they get to the 5th.
Well, just the views that we saw, I thought it was inconclusive. I could not see an obvious touch. That doesn't mean it didn't happen, but there was nothing that you could see that was obvious. So great camera work.
Point Florida State, Rothman back to serve. Led serve to the Fighting Irish. Schrader hammers it away from the right pin. And Fiona Schrader, who had a career-high 14 kills against Wake Forest, has a handful already against the Noles.
And you can see why they've got her playing in the front row and not taking her out as a setter. Really effective at both positions.
4 kills for Schrader, who now goes to the back row to set and to serve. Snyder off the top of the Tarnoff block. Off-speed Tarnoff. Back row Palazzolo, back corner, count it!
And that was a tough play. I believe that ball hit the rafter, and then Notre Dame setter's got to get her feet under it and make sure her hands stay solid. Really excellent play offensively for Notre Dame.
5-3, Fighting Irish. Schrader, cross-court serve. Droskovic goes up there to hit the quick set, and Florida State records a kill off the touch. Corey Lewis now rotating off the floor. Tarnoff to the back corner. Rothman one-handed dig. Koenig cross court found a home in the back corner.
And what a play by Koenig over here. I mean, it's shots going down the line. It's obvious it's going to be in the corner. And she dives out there and gets a hand on it and able to transition with her offense right here with Rothman.
Out of the reach of Hattie Monson, who steps in on serve receive. Lang going cross court, picked up by Droskovic. Out of system set by Kylene Filamawa. And that attempt airmails the end line by Koenig. Point to the Fighting Irish.
Just a little bit of a mishit, trying to go for the top of top of the block. She might have broken a fingernail with that hit.
No problem though. Cast that thing aside and lock back in.
Throw it off the court. Here we go.
Out of the middle, Roby picked up by Schrader. Back bump by Monson. And Palazzolo is stuffed.
Stuff block means it just goes straight down. There is no coverage. Just exactly where you want the ball to go. You could see it's just down at like the 1 foot line. No digging that up.
One of the best blockers in the ACC, Chiari Roby with the solo stuff. Florida State's 6th team block of this match. Couple of aces in the first set for Kenna Phelan, who goes back to serve. Palazzolo off the block, picked up by Phelan, tight to the net, and there to put it down is Trump.
She looked at the referee like she thought he might call her for being over, but the ball was on top of the net, so she had a right to hit it.
And so set one, where Florida State jumped out to a 6-point lead and Notre Dame reeled them in. This set Notre Dame has led for the most part, and Florida State has clawed back multiple times, including there with Chiari Roby out of the middle.
And I think Florida State's, both of their middles have just been tremendous. Very hard to get a hand on those when they hit it from such a high level.
7 kills in total from those 2 middle blockers. The off-speed tip by Palazzolo into the tape. An attack error for Palazzolo and the Fighting Irish. Point to the Noles, who now lead 8-7. Shank pass. That's on top of the net, and Florida State was there to clean it up.
Those always just scare me a little bit when that ball's on top of the net and people are flying in from both sides. Just try and keep that ball off the net so somebody can get a clean swing at it.
Wow, that FSU defense really starting to fire here in this second set. It's been a defensive-oriented match to this point, and the Noles defense, especially here in set 2, finding full song, Coach.
And I think you've got that block that was just reading it and ready to get their hands over it quickly.
4-0 run for the Noles. We'll be back after this.
I spent the last 7 years.
Back underway here in Tallahassee. The Noles on a 4-0 run, and that puts an end to it. What a swing by Lucy Trump.
She has great vision of the net. She knows if there's one blocker or two, she gets a free shot with one blocker up there and absolutely drills it in front of the defense.
A service error goes right back to Florida State, who have a 3-point lead here in set 2. Chiari Roby heads to the back row to serve, and Corey Lewis rotates back onto the floor for the Noles to work through the front row. Over on 2, Drunick dug up by her fellow setter Kenna Phelan. Conley launching from that 10-foot line. Conley blocked. It stays up with Rothman. Lewis out of the middle with another kill.
Just what a perfectly executed dive for Phelan. She is just incredible on defense.
Quick set to the middle. Charity McDowell dug up by Roby. Rothman's going to lobby for a touch call. She won't get it. Point Fighting Irish. And I think Chris Poole's going to challenge that that ball was touched.
I think Rothman looked over at Chris Poole and told him she definitely thinks there was a touch, and he's going to honor that and Try and see if we can come up with some kind of a challenge here.
So 2 challenges in set 2, both touch calls that we're taking a look at. And so as we take a look at what the rules are for the challenge system, each team begins the match with 2 if that original call is reversed. And so, of course, that means the team that's doing the challenging is successful in their challenge attempt. That team keeps that challenge. If, however, for any reason, whether it's they're categorically wrong or there's just not an angle to prove that they're right, they're going to lose that challenge because that point will be upheld the way it was scored initially.
So Notre Dame is down to 1 challenge because they could not determine whether that there was a touch or not on that call she challenged, but we'll see what comes up with Florida State. Again, Mark Edsel, the second referee, is looking at a variety of views. And this was a challenge because Audrey Rothman thought that there was a touch across the net when she hit the ball.
Can you tell one way or another?
I could not tell. I mean, if it did, it hit the top of someone's finger, but again, I didn't see any finger movement. And this is, this is one of the hardest calls in the game for referees.
And so, as you might have heard, Mark Edsel telling us the play stands as is, no touch. And so each of these teams are now down to 1 challenge until perhaps we go to a 5th set.
And I think it's a good call. You want the coaches to really listen to their players, and if they think that's what happened, they realize that if it doesn't work out, they're going to lose that challenge.
Back row, Palazzolo. Rothman off the block. Jurunic setting McDowell. Now back setting Schrader.
And this is quite a swing to hit this off of Conant in the back row. And we know how many digs she's had, but you can see it's just too fast for her to handle.
6 kills here in set 2 for Notre Dame to 5 for Florida State. The Fighting Irish also had the kill edge in set 1 over the number 23 team in the country, despite losing at 25-21 to the Noles. Quick set to oh my! That is straight down.
And it's just so pretty to watch. If you know your volleyball, you know how good that looks. I mean, she is up in the air, just hit it down at about the 10-foot line. It's fun to watch unless you're on the other side of the net, Sean. Then it's not so fun.
Yeah, I don't think Salima Rockwell found that fun.
No.
6 kills, hitting .357 for Corey Lewis. Palazzolo off-speed back row. Snyder looking through the seam. No touch. Point Irish. Lead down to 2. Hattie Monson drops in the ace.
And Notre Dame seems to be picking on that left side of the court. If they can get Rothman to try and take it, give her something else to think about besides attacking, they're going to try and do that.
First ace of the match for Notre Dame, 5 for Florida State. And right back to Rothman she goes. This time, Audrey, a better pass. Notre Dame off of Corey Lewis's block. Snyder had to wait on that one. Filamawa plays it up. Droskovic over on 2, picked up by Monson. Lang, that hit the antenna, point Florida State.
Ball was a little bit outside the line, and she just tried to hit it down the line. Of course, anytime the ball touches that antenna, it's out of bounds.
Ava Lang, the second leading scorer for Notre Dame with the attack error, and so Audrey Rothman heads into serve. Lang now rejected by the FSU block. Corey Lewis charging in there with Maddie Snyder.
Really does a good job. Both of those blockers of getting their hands in the right position across the net. It never gets a chance.
8th block of the match already for Florida State. Service error by Rothman, point back to the Fighting Irish.
Boy, we've seen some missed serves. I mean, they've missed by, I think both teams have missed them by 20 feet or something. Just a lack of concentration and taking their eye off the ball.
3rd service error for Florida State, 3 also for Notre Dame. Quick to the middle, and there's another. Corey Kill.
Now, I know Coach Watchwell doesn't like it, but she knows good volleyball when she sees it. And really just a super connection. Credit goes to the setter and the hitter, but what timing.
Set from pin to pin, and Trump misses the end line.
Boy, she just barely got it out.
Boy, how about that set, though? Wow. Trump. Palazzolo, the roll, missing the sideline.
Smart play, trying to go for the sideline and really get Rothman to run it down. She gets over to the sideline and then makes the decision to let it go.
A 3-0 scoring run for Florida State. And Filamawa serves it in. Monson there on serve receive. Lang off the edge of the block and down.
And that time, I think it was Roby didn't quite have her middle hand over the net just to penetrate it and pointing back in the court. You'll see it just goes off of this inside of her middle hand. Can't quite get it over.
Alyssa Menitsas serves it in. Back set Trump. Rejected and then dug over. Koenig, dug up by Monson. How good has Monson been? Snyder off the top of the block. There's Monson again. And there's Palazzolo in transition.
And that's what good defense looks like. You know, you're in a spot, you're dug in, you're ready to play the ball up. And if there's a touch or some kind of movement, you've got to transition and get yourself to go after the ball. But Monson has been all over the court, in the air, flying all over the place. 19
digs in not even 2 full sets for Hattie Monson. High reach and a tip to the Terraflex, Kiari Roby.
Now you know you're jumping high when you tip and your hand is on top of the ball, Sean. She's that far over the net, she just tips it straight down. Beautiful shot. You would be tipping underneath. Your hand would be underneath the ball.
I was going to say, I cannot relate to that.
No, I wouldn't think you would be able to.
In terms of height or in terms of vert, that's a tight serve. And Notre Dame, credit to the Fighting Irish, having the discipline to watch that one go. That was tight to the end line, at least from our end.
You've got people that are going to call it for you, in or out, and they made a good call for their teammate.
Koenig says, I can hit some angles.
I think they got their middle blocker. Charity McDowell kind of froze on that, didn't get to the outside, and you can see what happens against a one-person block.
So off the kill, Koenig goes back to serve. Some overpass dug out of play. Timeout, Notre Dame.
It's a good call, not just to think about what they need to do offensively, but also to give Florida State server just a little time to think about that next serve.
It'll be Audrey Koenig to serve it in once again. A service ace for Koenig there as that ball on serve receive went out of play. 5-point lead for Florida State. Still, Coach, a very defensive match to this point.
It's been fun to watch. And again, I think the crowd is really getting into it. You think the ball's going to hit the ground and somebody makes it what we used to call defensive saves. I mean, they had to make a serious effort to get to it, but really fun to watch.
22 kills for Notre Dame to 19 for Florida State. The Noles, though, out-hitting the Fighting Irish 145 to 091. The Noles also considerably out-blocking the Fighting Irish 8-2. And then in terms of digs, Hattie Monson's been brilliant, but Florida State has also gotten a spirited effort out of Audrey Koenig, who has 14 of those digs you saw there. In terms of assists, 2 more for the Fighting Irish. And it's been a pretty tight match to this point.
It has. And, you know, all of these digs is so deflating for your offense. I mean, you think you've got a kill, and someone flies out of the other side of the court and picks it up, or just stands there and digs it straight up, and the team can transition and get a kill. So it's tough on your offense when somebody keeps digging you up like that.
If you're just joining us, welcome. Sean Davison, the AVCA and USA Volleyball Hall of Famer, Dr. Cecile Reynaud, on the call for you as we close the curtain here in Tallahassee on this regular season. The NCAA selection show will be tomorrow at 6 Eastern, and the Audrey Koenig Service Ace Special is live on your set now.
And then that net has to raise its ugly head. You know, you're not just playing against another team. The net seems to show up right when you don't need it.
And just when that announcer pays you a compliment on those 2 service aces. Sydney Conley splitting the block. Chiari Roby back to serve. Palazzolo, there you go. There's a kill for Sydney Palazzolo.
Really smart play, good high reach back in the corner. This Notre Dame team is not going away. They are swinging as smart as they can.
Just off the tape, picked up by Corey Lewis. Back set Conley. Philomawa laid out for it. That's a block for the Fighting Irish. Chris Poole wants a timeout, and he'll get it.
And he's still got another timeout if he needs it.
Notre Dame, for their part, out of timeouts. And, well, we've seen some fireworks from the middle blockers here in this match, particularly for Florida State. And we'll go ahead and take a look at them now as well.
And you'll just see that they're stuff blocking. They're really attacking the ball anywhere along the net, but it's you know, we talk about, do you call them middle hitters or middle blockers? I don't know. I mean, they do it both, and it's the only position. You never call them an outside blocker. It's always a hitter, but the people in the middle have got to hit and block.
When you take a look at what they've done in conference play, hitting percentages, Corey Lewis, 452, that's tops. Chiari Roby, 364, that's also in the top 10. Lewis, for her part in conference play, 3rd in Division I volleyball to this point this season.
And that credit goes to her setter. I mean, you know, Lewis is just jumping up in the air, and her setter, I think it's Jelly most of the time, puts it right in her hand, and she's able to get all those kills. So great job to the setters for getting them to the middles.
And after watching those highlights, worth mentioning that Lewis and Roby are responsible for 11 of Florida State's 20 kills, and they have had a hand in every single one of the blocks. Save for the Rothman solo stuff.
Was that a play on words? They had a hand in those blocks?
Maybe.
Well, they had 4 hands in those blocks.
It was one of those, it was an unintentional pun, but we'll take it. Sean Davison, Dr. Cecile Reynaud here with you and Tully Jim. Set goes to Audrey Rothman. And once again, another quality dig by Hattie Monson. Double contact, though, the call on the set attempt by Nicole Drunig. Set points once again for the Noles. And Jelly Droskovic is back to serve. Can't imagine anybody better to serve it in with set points in the balance than Jelly. And that's a great way to end it. Just like in set 1, the Seminoles seal set 2 with their 9th block of the match.
Just an incredible.
They serve it in with a chance to perhaps do so in straight sets. Addie Holtquist does the honors, and we're back underway. Quick set to the middle, off-speed attack by Corey Lewis. Trump. No touch by Florida State. Yeah, there was. Okay. I think that touch might have been somebody in the net, actually. They're going to call, I believe, Corey Lewis for maybe being in the net.
Right. Mark Hetzel, the second referee, signaled the number, and I think she was in the net. And no protest from the coaching staff. And both teams still have a challenge left.
Alyssa Menitsis goes in to serve. And that might be a second net violation.
I think that was Lauren Tarnoff.
And that time it goes against Notre Dame.
And that time we saw Corey Lewis hit in a different direction. Usually she kind of hits to that left backside, but she would turn and hit it toward right back.
Consecutive net violations to get the scoring started here in set 3. And Sydney Palazzolo gets right inside the FSU block. That's a kill and a much-needed point for Notre Dame, who's got to try to string together some momentum here early on set 3.
And I think Corey Lewis might have just jumped too high for that block, and it just dribbled inside her arms.
Maisie Alexander in to serve. Palazzolo over the block and down.
I think Notre Dame's done a wonderful job of just off-speeding them to the corners. You know, everything counts. Use that inline as much as you can, but you can see it's just a soft spike roll back exactly in the corner where it needed to be.
8 kills and 4 digs for Sydney Palazzolo, who had 9 and 8 respectively against the Seminoles in South Bend, and there's a double block, McDowell and Trump.
And they're able to get their hands on Audrey Rothman, who's 6'4", a wonderful job of getting the block up, just no coverage behind her.
Falamawa plays it up on serve, receive. Alexander tried to dig it up, but it ends up in the stands.
And just tremendous pursuit after the ball. I mean, everybody went for it, and that's what you want to see your team doing defensively.
And that sends Audrey Rothman back to serve. Trump from the right pin, got it. Off the touch, a kill for Lucy Trump.
I think most of her kills have been from the right side. She's been very effective over here.
13 matches with 10 or more kills last season. Only 4 this year, but among those 4 include the last 2 the Fighting Irish have played. So Trump trending upwards here as she plays the Noles in Tallahassee. There's a block. FSU keeps it up. Koenig now goes inside the edge of that block, and it's dug back over. Palazzolo, and Falamawa was there for it, but could not dig it up.
Just a nice hard swing, a little bit off of her left arm. Got a good shot here, what she's waiting for. And she kind of leads back instead of forward into that ball.
6-2 Fighting Irish, and Trump serves it in. Koenig, cross court, missed the sideline, point Fighting Irish.
Tough play to swing at that ball. She's at the 10-foot line. Really hard to find the court.
An attack error by Audrey Koenig and a timeout by Chris Poole. Notre Dame in a must-win set 3 leads it 7-2.
Geico makes car insurance easy.
Enjoy your flight. You too.
As easy as saying the wrong thing.
Dad, why would you say that?
Why would you say that? Are we leaving or?
I thought I knew you.
With an app that puts your policy in your pocket, it's easy to Geico.
It's not how airports work, man.
It's bow time.
Hey, sweetie.
Hey, Mom. I'll land at 3.
Any ideas for your first meal home?
Bojangles?
Well, you don't want my cooking.
Well, okay.
This holiday, order your family favorites in the Bojangles app.
Now that tastes like home.
It's bow time.
Skeletus!
These moves looking real nice in the future. Pull up on them and it look nice. Look nice. These moves looking real nice in the future. Let's go, like. These moves looking real nice in the future. These moves looking real nice in the future. Become the future.
As we take a look at how we got to this point where Florida State has a chance to win an ACC co-championship on November 3rd when the Noles upset number 6 Pitt and when Georgia Tech upset number 3 Louisville, it forced a 4-way tie in the ACC. From there, the Yellow Jackets fell with losses at home to the Panthers and on the road to Miami. Then Louisville went to Pittsburgh in an 8,000-person setting in the Peterson Event Center and lost in 5 sets, a reverse sweep for Pittsburgh, no less, who then went from there, won in Syracuse, solidified their part of the co-championship. Florida State has continued to win after knocking off Pitt, and so the Noles have their chance to salt away their portion of the ACC championship at 16-2 here today. Fiona Schrader wants none of that, though.
And I think if you look back at Notre Dame's record this year, Sean, they've had 5 matches where they have won in 5 sets, so they're not going away.
Both of these teams with a handful of 5-set match wins this season. Florida State coming off of one, so too, in fact, Notre Dame. And Chiari Roby, puts that ball down in a hurry.
Just really good timing on both of their parts. They get together, they make a nice, they seal that seam, reach over, direct it back in, just to the bottom of the floor.
Eight 8-4 Fighting Irish, kind of feeling back to serve. McDowell had it rejected. Audrey Koenig puts it down.
Just a nice, again, hand facing back where they want the ball to go. Really cut off that shot completely. And Audrey was inside helping out from that left side position.
Three-point lead still for the Fighting Irish. Make it 4. Fiona Schrader. If you're just joining us, Schrader coming off of a triple-double against Wake Forest in the 5-set win. It was the 3rd triple-double of her career. She's tied for 2nd in the Notre Dame record books with Maureen Shea from 1985 to 88 is when Shea was with the Fighting Irish.
And a nice job of setting the block in the right position here. And we know Koenig likes that sharp angle. Let's see if she comes back with that one more time.
Monson serves it in. Roby out of the middle and tattoos Monson on its way out.
That's a nice choice by the Florida State offense to get that back to the middle. When you have a little trouble with the outsides, bring it back in the middle.
Just off the tape and down. Service ace number 3 of the match for Audrey Koenig. Florida State as a team has 8. Schrader, another kill for Fiona.
Big swing, and again, that lefty just has a little bit of an advantage over here. That ball doesn't have to cross in front of her body, so she can take a heavy swing every time.
7th kill for Schrader, 5 digs, 13 assists to this point in the match. Audrey Rothman tooling the block. Second kill for Rothman in the match.
Yeah, she's had 15 swings and only hitting, well, she's hitting minus 133, so just hasn't been a big offensive match for her.
Yeah, Notre Dame has actually quieted Florida State's left pin tandem of Koenig and Rothman. Not a whole lot of offense for either one of them, both actually hitting a negative to this point. Kill, though, by Rothman. She's got a couple in a row. Roby will serve it in. And it's a good serve. It's still up, though, and now it's not.
Just an aggressive serve. It just barely crosses that net. Low, tight, clean. Means it's flat and clean. There's no spin on it. Very difficult to pass. Just got to take a step forward.
This time down the line by Roby. Tarnoff out of the middle. Lewis out of the middle as well. There's a dig by Monson. Conley was rejected initially. It's still up, though, as Rothman rolls it past Trump. A freshman Ava Lang, an out-of-system set now by Koenig to Conley. That's off the ceiling. It's still playable. Trump off the FSU block. Conley right pin.
She's just kind of a quiet hitter. You know, you forget about her a little bit. You got Rothman out here on the left side. Conley's on the right side. Just slip it out there to her. She's very effective. Lost all of her blockers just about.
Tarnoff out of the middle responds. The player whose career began in the COVID abbreviated season when she was a Miami Hurricane. Played in the fall, did not play in the spring for Keno Gondara, then transferred to South Bend. She's one of the top blockers in the ACC and looks pretty good on offense, too. Menezes serves it in. 1 point, third set, one the Fighting Irish must win. And Palazzolo tooling the block. That'll help the cause.
They're just catching Florida State in their forearms. Got to get their hands lower and over more.
Service error, and it goes right back to Florida State. Fourth service error here of the match for Notre Dame. Only one ace to counter that by Hattie Monson. Droskovic looking for an ace of her own. Monson says no, ma'am. She played it up ahead to Tarnoff, who could not advance it over the net herself. But an all-out effort by Hattie Monson once again.
Yeah, excellent pursuit for that ball. Just played it a little too tight to the net.
And there's the ace indeed for Jelly Droskovic.
Again, trying to pick on Sydney Palazzolo, just trying to take her focus off the pass because she's going to be thinking about hitting.
3 aces in this set alone for Florida State. 10 now in the match. That one over the end line, a service error for Droskovic. How about a player like Jelly Droskovic, Coach? This is a Florida State program that has been so close so often, but none of these players on the floor have experienced what it's like to win a conference championship, but she has at UMBC.
She did, and you know, it's always, I think when you've got the experience or you know how to do it, you've been through it, you can lead your team to what that feeling is like.
She's established a good connection with Corey Lewis, who, with an assist from the tape, got another kill. And speaking of assists, Jelly with 10 assists and 4 digs to this point in the match. That was kept up. Nearly another ace for the Noles. Back set to Maddie Snyder. Menezes dives in for the dig. Snyder rejected by McDowell.
And I think Lewis was in there covering, but just maybe a little bit too high. That came down, really an impressive stuff block by Notre Dame.
Sixth block of the match for the Fighting Irish. and that is the 5th for Charity McDowell. Nice pass there, and there's a result.
Just kind of putting on a little show sometimes. Again, it takes a good pass, but that setter timing, and Jelly gets it up high enough. A lot of times setters don't get it high enough for their hitters, but just a perfect placement in her hand.
11 kills, 6 blocks in this match for Corey Lewis. Libero Kylene Filamawa back to serve. And it's a service ace. Timeout, Notre Dame.
Give that Florida State server just a little time to think about it. And Notre Dame's got to figure out how they want to try and get this serve up and stay in system to go against that Florida State defense.
As we take a look at some of the numbers today, offensively speaking, Notre Dame recording more kills than the Noles. FSU a little bit cleaner, though, offensively. Hattie Monson's been tremendous, and the Fighting Irish have dug up a few more balls than Florida State. But FSU's block has also turned back the Fighting Irish more so than the Irish's block has turned back the Noles.
And a lot of times it depends on where those blocks come in the game. It's been spread out a little bit, but it's really shut you down mentally when you just get stuffed to the floor. So you've got to have your teammates covering you ready. You've got to be able to swing hard, use the block, and try to just not pick him, go through him. You got to go around him or off of him.
And I'll tell you what, Florida State brought out a great crowd here this weekend for both the NCAA tournament over at soccer, over at the Seminole Soccer Complex last night. Those Seminoles going on to carry in the College Cup, and they brought out a great crowd here today, and it includes whatever those creatures are.
Well, those are not the commentators, by the way. I saw our names under the. That's not a picture of us, right?
No. Apparently, they've made a stop at Buc-ee's because I see the beaver. So Buc-ee's just got some ad placement.
And it's fun to see the fans here having a good time.
Great to have so many fans in the house as we take a look at what's at stake. Notre Dame looking for their first ranked win since the COVID year, 2020 and spring 21. They beat Georgia Tech in O'Keefe Gym in straight sets. Interestingly enough, the Yellow Jackets are ranked 23rd like Florida State is here. And for Florida State, they've got an ACC championship on the line, their first since 2012.
And tomorrow we'll find out that bracket, and we're hoping to see a lot of teams in this strong conference. Maybe 5 or 6 teams get into the tournament.
Yeah, Chris Poole even mentioned to you earlier today that he thinks about 6 teams could get in. He likes NC State's chances, thanks in large part to their win over Louisville.
And there have been some fantastic. I mean, you've got to have what they call really wins over the championship teams, and Louisville has been in the Final Four the last couple of years. So big wins over those type of teams will get you in the tournament.
Cardinals, the national runners-up to Texas last season. Point Notre Dame, and Chiari Roby was in the net. So the Fighting Irish are fighting back. Timeout, Florida State. I'll mention this, Coach. We've mentioned how defensive this match has been. For Notre Dame here in set number 3, they're hitting .333 as a team. This is as clean as their offense has been, and if they can force some mistakes by Florida State, they're in great position to take set 3 here.
That's definitely the best hitting percentage we've seen all day from either team, but that comes from, again, some of those digs and the impressive blocking.
And a player who has been a fixture for the Fighting Irish to this point in the match has been Fiona Schrader, whether she's been setting balls or swinging at them. 15 assists and 8 kills for Fiona Schrader.
And that's a lot of activity. As a setter, you're running around that court. So when she's in the back row, she is really penetrating and getting to every other ball. But front row, she has really been putting on a show as well.
Schrader with 8 kills. The leading scorer for Notre Dame is Sydney Palazzolo, as she so often has paced the Fighting Irish this season. She's got 10 kills and is the second leading scorer on the floor. The leading scorer on the floor for either side is Corey Lewis, again with those 11 kills, and Corey's just hitting a cool .476.
And that's just a highlight video with With the sets she's been getting, the swing she's been making around that Notre Dame block have really been impressive.
Palazzolo will serve it in. Out of the middle, there's Chiari Roby.
Another excellent middle hitter. Gets herself in the timing with her setter, just perfect.
This is a portion of the sets where Florida State came into the season, Coach, particularly proud of how they closed sets out. They called this area the red zone, and they were happy with what they'd seen in practices and scrimmages with how they handled points 20-25. And similarly, they have been happy this year with how they've responded and closed things out, even with their backs against the wall.
And you've got to, things just really tighten up once it gets to this point in the match, because you just need a few more swings to put it away. You've got to stay focused. Again, one ball at a time, just the next play, the next play. And Audrey Rothman's got to focus in right now.
An attack error, as you mentioned, by Audrey Rothman. It goes to Notre Dame. 1-point third set. Rothman back on the attack, and no mistakes about that. Extra mustard, maybe a little relish too on that swing by Rothman.
That's the kind of focus she needs, and it's a good set to take a swing at around that block. You'll see her get up here high. One block, gets it right in the seam.
Four kills, 7 digs for Rothman. Schrader into set. She goes pin to pin and feeds Trump. Rothman cross court. Monson digs it up and into the stands. Point Florida State. Timeout, Notre Dame.
It's a good call by Salima Rockwell just to give her time. Heights, various places along the net, and even out of the back row. So very powerful offensive team.
A lot of teams in the country fall in love with setting their left pins. Florida State likes to open things up with their middle, but with the emergence of Maddie Snyder, the being healthy for Sydney Conley and what she can do, what the middles have always been able to do for the Noles, and what the Audreys on the left pin have done, it has just been a tremendous attack for the Noles, who are back at it once again. There's Conley, number 15.
And that's her 5th kill today. Really, it's been, again, she's not loud, she's not flashy, she's just effective.
6 kills for Sydney Conley in this match, hitting .267. Roby serves it in. High reach out of the middle, Tarnoff sides out. That puts an end to a 3-0 run for the Noles.
And this Notre Dame server could really score some points here.
Benitez serves it in. Florida State 2 points away from an ACC title. There's another quality dig by Hattie Monson. Monson once again there to cover. Trump right pin. Phelan ranging all the way back. There's a free ball to Notre Dame. Out of the middle, Tarnoff kept up by Koenig. Rothman rolls it over the block. Monson will set Trump. Filamaua diving in, and there's Lewis looking for the sideline, but missing it.
And Florida State wants to get into this Final Four, which is in Tampa this year. Already sold out event. Finals are going to be on ABC on a Sunday afternoon. So incredible crowds this year watching all the volleyball around the country.
Once again, the selection show tomorrow at 6 Eastern on ESPN. We'll find out what the field of 64 looks like. FSU will certainly be one of them. They're looking for the auto bid, and Sidney Conley is putting them on the doorstep. Championship point for Florida State.
And how fun to have it on your home court as well.
Everybody to their feet, and it's Jelly Droskovic, the glue of this team, to serve it in. Rothman stuffed, and Notre Dame will have a chance to rally here.
And Trump does an excellent job of getting herself in the right position, not letting it go by her.
Maisie Alexander in to serve. Lewis turned back. There's another block for Notre Dame.
And that brings the smiles out for Notre Dame. And again, that just feels good to block somebody like a Corey Lewis straight down.
Championship point number 3. Rothman for the championship. They've been consistent, competitive, and oh so close. And after a decade devoid of a conference crown, the Florida State Seminoles have soared to the summit of the ACC. What a season for the Noles, who put a close on it in emphatic fashion here at